Welcome back, baseball fans, to the elimination video for the Cincinnati Reds, the runner-up in the World Series to the Orioles for the second time in a couple different eras. Disappointing finish to a great season, yet another great season. Still need to get this team a World Series ring. Now, I've gotten them one. It was a while ago. I did get the Cincinnati Reds a World Series ring from the 1981-84 carryover league, which, of course, 1981 is featured prominently. That was the year of the strike, and the Reds had the best record in baseball in 1981 and didn't go to the playoffs because of the bizarre split-season format. But, alas, I got them a ring then, as opposed to the Big Red Machine 70s Reds that I haven't. So figure that one out. Get back to me. Anyway, looking at the stats, let me, before we look at these stats, talk about last year, where this team was. They were the #1 seed, but stunned and knocked out by the surprising San Diego Padres a year ago. You might have watched that in the 2020 Fall League. The Randy Jones, Yacht Rock Padres went on a miracle run. The Reds finished 19-12. I put down in my notes that former MVP Joe Morgan hit 286, 819, and 16. Current MVP George Foster hit 323, 1337. Ken Griffey at 404. But the pitching staff, Gary Nolan was 6-1 with a 5.54 ERA, and Pat Zachary 5-3 with a 4.06 ERA. Well, now we look at the stats. We'll start with the hitting first. Underachieved compared to a year ago, and only Johnny Bench hit .300 a ball, 306. He overachieved with batting average, 827. Let's just skip Geronimo had a great year and a great playoffs. He overachieved as well. Joe Morgan's card at 288. Somehow hitting 291 seemed ridiculously better because of the 42 walks, the 31 stolen bases. My goodness. Only 26 runs scored, though. He only scored 5 more runs than Geronimo. That is strange. But really, Griffey, George Foster only hit 250. That card is 320. The fringe players didn't contribute very much either at the bottom there. Brohammer, Helms, Turner. They acquired Tom Seaver in the Pete Rose deal in the offseason. He completely delivered with a monster year. 269 ERA, a 102 whip. Was 8-1 at one point, and had some tough postseason losses where his team didn't give him any support. He got shut out, opposed shut out. What are you supposed to do? You can't win a game when your team doesn't score a run. Notice the number of innings pitched compared to the #2 starter, which was Mario Soto. 110-81. That's 29 more innings for Seaver than the second best pitcher on his own staff. Soto, to his right, had a great year. And Seaver and Soto will be together now for another 4 or 5 year run. And like I said, I've already played this 80s version of this, and Seaver and Soto won a World Series. So once this league, 77 and 80, creeps up to the 81-84, I'll have something to compare to. I did that a lot. I've been doing this 77 golden era stuff for quite a while now. And then because of YouTube, I decided to bring it back and go try it again. See if I get different results or move guys around and so forth. So I've actually played this era several times now, so pretty familiar with the cards. Great year for the Reds that just fell short. So let's take a look now at the Cincinnati Reds stack. Pull out the 77 guys from it. And when we do that, there'll be 8 of those we pull out, of course. Okay. And take a quick peek at who's going away. Okay. Well, I see. Well, I see 4 keepers immediately, and so the other guys just have to go away because I can identify just by looking at the names who's going to be a keeper. Some teams it's pretty easy to figure this stuff out. So they're going to bring back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hitters and 7 pitchers. Of course, I've got an extra card for 2 of these guys, or 1 of these guys. An extra Mario Soto. The 80 cards that were printed twice. So looking at the... let's do the hitting first, though. I'll jump ahead of myself. Alright, the hitters. The 5 hitters that are coming back and 7 pitchers. That's not what you want. You want it the other way. Because you have to go build an offense. Oh boy, Steve Nicosia comes back, as Jack Brohammer does. Concepcion and Griffey, the only guys who are we can call Reds. So they have to rebuild their offense almost from ground up. And they can do that, though. With some nice cards. And the pitching staff, they're bringing 7 of the 8 guys back. Obviously, you see somebody missing, the guy who was number 1. Because Soto was 2, 3, 4, and then the 4 relievers. So we know who that guy is. So let's take a peek and see what the Reds do with those 1977 players. Okay, baseball fans. So, looking at the Reds 77 guys. Starting at the top with some guy named Johnny Bench, I believe it's pronounced. Okay, Johnny Bench. The Reds want to keep Johnny Bench. Okay, let's check it out. Do the Reds want to keep Johnny Bench? Let's go find out. It's 1970 cards, no longer in use. Let's see. You could bring up his 78, his 79, his 80, or his 81 card. 823, 824, 810, and 858. Okay. What's really fun though is he's not an all-star in 81. Maybe the strike had something to do with it. But it's 309 in 1981 with a 369 on base. I just find that funny. Anyway, sure, yeah. First keeper. All right, next guy, Steve Bry. Oh, we know they're not keeping him. He was just brought in to plug a roster spot in a platoon. Had a nice little career for the Twins and Brewers. And the Pirates in 78. If he has this 78 card with the Pirates, he qualifies for waivers. Let's go check it out. We'll go to SuperDeestripod.com where he has the roster sheets listed. And we'll look under the Pirates and see if Bry exists in 78. Doesn't sound familiar. Oh, but there he is. He's a Pittsburgh extra player in 1978, so he gets to go on waivers. We're going to have a nice big waiver pool so we can push the undesirable waiver guys in retirement and be left with 64 very talented waiver guys. So that's good news for the league. All right, next guy. Your 1977 most valuable player card of George Foster will be, this is so sad, will be going away, folks. That's it. I've used it for the 4th and final year in this installment. There it is right there. 52 bombs, 1013 OPS, MVP. But Mr. Foster does not stop at all. He goes on in 78. With a monster year, 79 a monster year, 81 a monster year. Yep, that's strike year I keep talking about. Don't look at the total stats because it's only 108 games. You have to look at the ratio, the percentages, and so forth. Didn't work out when he went to the Mets after that, but he will be a Red for the next 4 or 5 years. George Foster. Congratulations, George. All right, next guy. This one's tricky. It's Cesar Geronimo. And I have to say, I just don't think it's going to work out. He actually started he's pretty old. He started in 69. It took him a while to get into baseball because of his stick. His great arm was his best asset and his range. But it took him a while until he got some steady playing time for this team. 76 was his best year with the 3rd of his Gold Glove. 77 is his last Gold Glove year. Look at that. You would have thought more than 4. He had such a great reputation. But alas, he was not unable to hit more than that, and the Reds let him go to Kansas City. The question remains, do we want to keep him for 78, 79, and 80? And I think what we need to do is let him go look for work elsewhere, because we have plenty of other keepers on this list. And the name Cesar Geronimo will pop up around baseball and be like, the Reds cut Cesar Geronimo. What are the Reds thinking? We want a Gold Glove center fielder. So I don't think it'll be very hard for Geronimo to find work. It's this thing about, you know, the thing is when you've got like Hall of Famers, MVPs on your on your keeper list. Oh, here's some guy, Joe Morgan, not the announcer. There we go. So 76 was the monster, ridiculous, insane year. That was last year. And then this 77 card we just played was fantastic as well. The AA stealer part was utilized more, whereas the homers and walks were usually, you know, we had him leading off the whole year. So 78 he slumped, 79 he slumped, and then in 80 he goes back to the Stros. I still think that it's funny. Remember how I talked in the other league, the 70-73 league, how the Astros are going to hold on to him for dear life until they have to give him up to the Reds? I think the Reds might be doing the same thing. You know, they might just skip the 78 year and just go to this 250 hitting year of 1979 just to get him for 2 years and call it good. I just don't see the Reds just saying, oh, his batting average has dropped, we don't want him anymore. That's just ridiculous. So I think they're going to hold in Joe Morgan. I mean, as a second baseman, he still is offensively better than Cesar Geronimo at a tougher position, second base. So 3 more guys to go. Tommy Helms, I believe, is about to be retired. We'll just double check that. There it is. He tried to get a ring for the Reds in his second stint. Tommy Helms, to take a picture, take a look at him here. Tried to get that second ring, could not get it. I don't think he ended up with any hardware. Yeah, he lost the 70 World Series. Yeah, too bad, Tommy. Sorry about that. We tried. Yeah, so he will be retired, Tommy Helms. Next guy, Tom Hutton, was not associated with the Phillies. They traded for him because of his glove. No, it was a Philly most, I believe, if not all of his career, or a big chunk of it. Yeah. This 77 card here, 309 in a limited playing time. And then after that, it's not very good. 78, that card should exist for Toronto or Montreal. Probably an extra player. Yeah, extra player for Montreal. So he goes on waivers. Tom Hutton. And then last, but certainly not least, the guy acquired in the offseason to shore up the top part of their rotation, Tom Seaver. I mean, this is the Cincinnati. It seems like this is like a baseball Hall of Fame game. No, it's not a baseball Hall of Fame game. It's called the Cincinnati Reds of late 70s. That's what this is. And they're going to protect Johnny Bench, Joe Morgan, Joe Foster, and Tom Seaver. Something tells me these guys are going to be right back where they were. They can, you know, they'll have like 15 guys like this, or 16 guys like that, and then get 4 other bodies to fill in the rest of the roster. We talked about what you can do with the 4 years of Seaver by always getting the best of the 4 years and just keep pushing forward, and he becomes the best pitcher for a period of about 16 years in Major League Baseball history. And so we just used this 77 card with a .014 whip All-Star. We've got 4 years to choose from. And look what happens in 4 years exactly. Yes, 14-2, 254, 1.11 whip, and an All-Star. The innings pitched, don't worry about that. It's the year of the strike, so he pitches on 3 days rest. And then when that card is up, if you want to get him back on the Mets or the White Sox or the Red Sox after that, have at it. The 83 Met card is good. The 84 White Sox card is good. Then when he turns 40, the 85 White Sox card is good. And even when he finishes up and his uniform is his age at 41, he's still got a 137 whip. So that would give him a, what is that? If you went back to the basic version of this game in 67 when he was a rookie, you could just run the whole thing. 20 years. Probably the only card you could run for 20 years. Maybe him and Ricky Henderson, off the top of my head I can think of, that you would run for 20 or more years in a row. Tom Seaver. So there it is. The Reds in good hands. Nothing to worry about in Cincinnati. They will be back next year doing the same kind of thing. Alright, thanks for checking out the Eliminating the Reds video. We'll see you next time.